It's Hannah.
I'm Trevor.
And it's Disney Insomniac. So we're going to talk a little bit today about what we did at Disney World, the things we would do again, and a little bit about our trip experience. So we only stayed one day in the parks, and that was only at Magic Kingdom. We did not go to any of the other parks. So that's what we're going to be talking today about, is our Magic Kingdom experience. Now, we did stay at a Good Neighbor Hotel, which allowed us to have the 30 extra minutes of time in the parks. Now, it made our trip much more expensive, and it was only 30 extra minutes. So we're going to start with talking about whether or not that was worth it. What do you think?
Well, I should preface everything by first saying that our experience is going to be framed under this idea that it was busy. We were at it was a busy day. So I don't know if this is everything that we're going to say about this in particular is going to be true in everyone's instance, because it was a busy day. But I would say, to answer your question, it was good for getting on probably one ride in the morning.
Yeah.
It was good for you got first in line or very close to the front of a line in one ride.
Yeah. And I will say that if you do not rope drop the early magic hours,
it would make no difference.
It would make no difference.
There were so many people there, rope dropping where we were at, and we were at the front.
So we waited outside of the parks, and then got let in extra early, when nothing's open, and then waited for another time in front of where we were gonna rope drop to get onto Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So we did get in the first little group of people, which was great, and we finished. Honestly, it probably took us 15 minutes of walking just through the queue. We didn't really wait at all. It just, walked through it, but it still took a minute to do that and then ride the ride.
I don't think that we would have had the time to go on that ride if we didn't do that, though. It's a very long way.
It's such a long way. It was an hour and a half, I think, for most of the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And we were not gonna pay extra for that ride, knowing that it is a kid coaster, right?
It was really cool, though. I guess maybe I'm jumping ahead, though.
No, tell me.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was a really cool ride. It was very unique, especially because it had the kind of sideways moving.
Yeah, the swinging element was really fun.
It was really cool. It was fun. It was worth going on for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I did like that there was a part where I thought we were nearing the end, and then turns out we actually had more to the ride, which I always liked.
Long, actually.
Yeah, it wasn't short.
It wasn't short.
Actually, after we rode Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, we went and rode the Barnstormer. So those are the two things we did in our early access time. Yeah. Oh, and Dumbo.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I guess we did 3 rides in 30 minutes. The Barnstormer, we really, I'm going to be honest with you, it was more 9 o'clock exactly when we got on the Barnstormer. So we really did Dumbo and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train in the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do Dumbo again in the early hours. That was maybe a miss, but I just didn't really want to do Peter Pan because I don't understand the hype for Peter Pan, and that's usually what people do when they rope drop Fantasyland, and we weren't gonna make it to rope drop, we weren't gonna make it in the extra 30 minutes to get on Space Mountain, and Trevor hates Space Mountain, so.
Yeah, that is true.
But I would say that if you are not planning on getting there early to when the park doors even open, when they're letting you through the gate, it's not worth it for the 30 extra minutes. And the 30 extra minutes really just made it possible for us to do those 2 rides. After we did Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, Dumbo, and then Barnstormer, and Barnstormer is 5 seconds. It's super short. We then went to Pirates, and we had the best experience on Pirates. It was amazing. Super cool. Now, I will say that Pirates is better in Disneyland. And you are going to hear me and Trevor tell you which rides we think are better in Disneyland and which are better at Walt Disney World, because Walt Disney World does have some better rides. Mm-hmm. But Pirates is not one of them. But what was really cool is that the ride had been down, and I decided that we were going to walk over there anyways, and with luck, it just happened to get up and running when we got there, as we walked up there. So that meant we walked through a completely empty queue. We were the first people back on the boats. There was one other family with us in the boat as well, but it was completely empty, which was really fun. Pirates feels very different
I was
at
gonna
Walt
say,
Disney World.
I was gonna say, like, it is better at Disneyland, but it is a different ride, I think.
Yeah.
It's very different. And I felt like I was experiencing it all for, like, a whole new thing for the first time.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
it's definitely worth it. It was worth going on for me, but it's I like the Disneyland one better, but it was different and really cool.
Yeah. Then we went on Thunder Mountain, which I do prefer Disneyland's version. I was really bummed when I realized that the goat is not in there. That's
Yeah,
like really like devastating for me personally. Though I do think the queue is better on Thunder Mountain and Disney World.
Yeah, the queue is better, for sure.
Then we went and rode Tron, which was my very favorite ride that we did. And I have to tell you all that everyone online says, you know, it's not necessarily worth it. It's really short, yada, yada, yada. I get it. It was short. So I had really low expectations going into it, but knew I wanted to ride it. And when they do like the rocket launch at the front of it, I was like ecstatic. I just like I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that, and it like blew my mind. And for me, the entire trip would have been worth it to have done just that ride. Like, it was so much fun.
It felt really, really fast, and I don't know how the speed compares to other rides. Like, I don't know what it's like compared to like the Incredicoaster, but I don't know if it's just because of like the way you're positioned, like leaning forward, but it felt faster than anything I've ever been on.
It was so awesome.
Like the speed. I mean, the ride is quick. It goes by really fast, but like the speed in which you're going feels very, very fast.
Honestly, I wish that we had tried to ride it twice. The wait
line was really
is long.
crazy.
So I definitely understand like wanting to pay for it. There was surge pricing that day because the crowds were bad. So it would have been, I think, like $20 instead of $15 per person, and that's just not worth it. So after we did Tron, which again, highlight for sure, we went and got some food because Trevor was hungry at this point. Or did we get food before?
I think we got food before Tron.
You're right.
Yeah.
We got food and then we went to Tron and it was fun.
Yeah.
We got waffles at Sleepy Hollow or whatever, which is fun because we actually went to Sleepy Hollow, like the real place in New York this year.
Recently,
so it was fun going to like a little bit of that New York history, I guess, in Walt Disney World. After we did Tron, we did the People Mover, and you know what? It was really fun. Also, underrated. I don't know why they don't have it in Disneyland. Tomorrowland is where we spent the most time, I would say, on our trip because there's so many rides there. Tomorrowland at Disneyland is lacking in that way.
Yeah, it's really interesting how different that is. Like, I feel like Tomorrowland was such a big part of our trip and a big part of Magic Kingdom, but at Disneyland, it's kind of like the weakest part, I feel
There's
like.
Star Tours and there is
Star Tours and
Space Mountain.
Really. And then like some gift shops. Yeah.
And the Space Rangers lightning.
That's there too.
That's it. That's really it, right? So People Mover made it really fun. And when we went on the People Mover, funnily enough, Space Mountain was down, so we got to see like the bones of Space Mountain, which was really cool.
Yeah,
I did upload a short on that on YouTube, so you can check that out, which was really fun. After we did the People Mover, and that was also good too because Trevor was like, I need something like low key, like do not make me do anything again after
it was
Tron.
Nice. It was a good break.
It was a good break. Then we went to the Jingle Cruise, and oh my gosh, this is one of those rides that is better at Disney World.
Yeah,
like,
I think so.
It's much longer at Disney World. They cut into, to build Indiana Jones in Disneyland, they cut into the Jungle Cruise, and so there's a whole extra section of it in Disney World that is not there at Disneyland. And so it definitely felt like, we waited in a pretty long line, it was maybe like 30-40 minutes, and it definitely felt worth it because the ride was like at least like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it was at least 5 minutes, and you go inside at one point,
which you don't do in Disneyland.
In Disneyland, it's a lot longer, and it's just
and the story makes more sense. In Disneyland, it kind of feels like weird because it's just like, look at these animals, but then in this one they're like, let's go through like all of the rivers of the world, these different continents. So you went through like South America and Asia and Africa, so you went through like these different continents, so it made like the story made more sense.
Definitely.
And then of course it's really fun with all the Christmas jokes that were in it, which was really fun. Then we went to the stupidest thing that we have ever done at Disney World.
Oh, that's when we definitely.
Do you want to share?
That's when we did the tiki room, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it was silly. It was dumb.
I don't really understand the love for Tiki Room. I guess like the birds are cool. Like the animatronics are cool and they're well done, and
The
like
Tiki are they're creepy for sure.
it feels really racist.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's like 3 or 4 stereotypes of different cultures in like the same.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It just left a weird taste in my mouth afterwards.
It was kind of cool. I didn't say this to you earlier, but it was kind of cool how like it made it feel like you were like looking out a window.
There were cool elements to it. Like I said, the animatronics were cool.
The kids there loved it.
Yeah, that was actually the best part, was
That's
looking
who
around,
likes it.
and the kids
They were loving
loved it. Like there was like a
Eating it
few
up.
like toddlers, and they were just like,
That was their highlight.
that was really cool. So that was fun, was seeing like the kids get really
Yeah,
excited.
they
But
loved
that
it.
was a one and done. I do
Yeah.
not feel the need to do it again.
Yeah, no.
After we did the Tiki Room, we went to an awesome meal. We went to the Skipper Canteen, and it was awesome.
It was really good, yeah.
We're gonna do a whole video review that's gonna be a little bit more in depth about what we ate, what the service was like, our experience, all of that, and we'll post that to the channel, because I think like there's a lot of reviews of the Skipper Canteen online, but a lot of them are through organizations or companies that review Disney content, so they have a little bit more of a polished experience, and I want to be able to talk just openly about what the good and the bad was. So after our awesome meal, we did follow kind of the strategy, I'm going to say, that like All Ears recommends, which is a channel that does Disney content, which is that towards the middle of the day, you should not be trying to ride a bunch of heavy hitting rides. And we did follow that strategy because the lines were really long at this point. And at this point, it also rained. Downpoured rained. I knew that it was going to because I had been warned that it will rain every single day, so we packed our rain jackets, which made it a little bit better. And then we went and did the Monsters Laugh floor, which is another thing that's in Tomorrowland and that's really fun, that I feel like would be really great at at Disneyland. I wish they had. That was the only like show that we really did.
Yeah.
And it was really fun.
Yeah,
It was really fun. I love that they like pick things from the actual, like it's like a real person back there doing improv, and I love improv comedy. That's like one of my very favorite things. I feel like it's a very fun like communal experience. You go in there and we're all gonna have like a show that is for us in that room, and that will be different for the next people in there. Then we did the Astro Orbiter, and they skipped us and went to the next group next to us, which was kind of salty, but I loved that ride. The sun was kind of like setting, and it was gorgeous and like very romantic. I liked it because I sit with Trevor behind me, right? So it's like feels very like, I don't know, we were close and we're flying around. Then we did the teacups. We waited in way too long of a line. I would not recommend waiting as long as we did. But we did it because it was kind of still drizzly on and off, so that's when we did that. And then we did Happily Ever After. Well, actually we went to dinner first after the teacups, and it was bad. We went to Pico's Bills, and our friends recommended it, and they really liked it. And then someone on here, Laura and Ryan, said don't eat there, and we said, well, we're gonna listen to our friends who went there, and they were there for like a long time. But it didn't occur to me this very important factor, which is our friends went there on their honeymoon, which was pre-COVID, and we went there post-COVID. And so I should have considered that when we made that decision, because it was not very good. They messed up my order, so we ended up getting a lot more food than like...
I will say it was, I mean, I wouldn't say it was cheap, but I would say that it was fast. We barely waited in a line, which maybe that says something. And it was we got our food very fast, but it was not...
we got a lot of food, and it was fast.
They gave us a lot of food, but it was very fast, but it was not very
They messed up our order, so then I got more food. And then we watched Happily Ever After, and we got really good seats, I would say, for like...
you mean a standing spot?
Yeah. Yeah, no one sits, I don't think, right? You know, we did have some like children in front of us, which was like, you know, it blocked us and everything, but it was fine. The children on the shoulders. It was fine because we didn't want to wait in line for a long time, so like I feel like we got what we could have, the best that we could have expected for it. And I cried actually in Happily Ever After, which is kind of embarrassing because like you guys are gonna laugh at me, but I don't consider myself to be like that hardcore of a Disney fan. I say that as I wear my Mickey ears and we're filming for our YouTube channel. But I do try and keep like a healthy perspective on the fact that like this is a corporation, and yes, they make stories that I love and like the characters that are important to me, but like there is like a bottom line that they're trying to make. But the show was like really amazing.
It was really good, yeah. It was really good.
And like it made me very emotional. And when Tinkerbell came, it was like this moment where I think actually because the kids were in front of us, it was very emotional because like they got like, so everyone's like, oh, there's Tinkerbell, and everyone was like, oh, and like there was like this collective like through the crowd of like everyone getting excited about this moment, which was really like, I don't know, it was really nice. I would definitely recommend, as someone who is not always as an adult focused on seeing the fireworks, because like I feel like you can do a lot of rides during that time, and I prefer the rides.
Usually, yeah.
Even though that's usually my mindset with fireworks, is like I'll see them from the rides that I'm gonna be doing. I would definitely recommend that you see this at least once. It was really great. Yeah. And I do really appreciate they had a lot of my favorite stories in there from the 90s. They do really good representation of like the Renaissance of Disney in there. So after Happily Ever After, we went to Haunted Mansion, and we waited too long for that ride as well.
Way too long.
We made the same mistake at Disneyland where we tried right after the fireworks to go to Haunted Mansion, and it's just like not the move. Don't do it.
Everyone wants to go there, I guess, at that time.
So don't do that. Haunted Mansion I actually think is better at Disney World. But, and this is a very important but, the holiday overlay at Disneyland is far superior. After we did Haunted Mansion, we did Small World. That was...
We just did it.
We just did it. I don't really remember anything.
I think it's like the same, mostly, right?
Yep.
It's like the same.
Then we did Autopia, which was fun because they do have the Christmas, like, trees out. Yeah. I know that, like, during Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party that they do, like, more overlays to it.
Yeah.
But I was still happy to see that they had, like, the modern, like, I don't know, like, it's that, Tomorrowland is designed in this design style where everything is like what people thought that modern would look like. And so it's fun to see the trees that look like they're in that style for Autopia. The cars are hard to drive. I'm just gonna say
I think ours was a little like janky, to be honest.
I think they're hard to drive.
Yeah.
And it smells like gasoline, like...
Yeah, it's just the smell that's like, yeah.
Then we did Space Mountain, and Trevor almost puked.
Like I always do.
I thought it would be better because it was the Matterhorn version, because like if you know about how the rides are constructed, the Matterhorn at Disneyland uses the same ride technique as Space Mountain does here at Disney World, and I thought that would be better for Trevor, and he started off and was enjoying it and was like haha hee hee and like making little happy noises, and then about partway through he got really quiet, and I knew that he was miserable at that point.
I never can. Yeah, it's always... I think it's like we usually end up doing Space Mountain at the end of the day too.
I don't think that's what it is. I think it's because it's dark.
Yeah, I think it's because it's dark, but I think it like is always the worst for me because it's always at the end of the day too, like that coupled.
We walked on to Space Mountain.
Yeah,
we did not even wait. We walked on.
We walked right on, no line at all, which I was really surprised.
Yeah, it said it was a 45-minute wait, and we walked straight on. Amazing. Yeah. I actually did Space Mountain twice.
Yeah, I did not.
And then we did Ariel's grotto ride or whatever, which is literally the exact same as Disneyland. Oh, it's actually in DCA, but we did that. It was the exact same. Then we did Pooh, which was, we waited in too long of a line, but the queue is really cute for Pooh. That was really fun. Yeah. And it was down for like most of the morning. So when we were there, like in Fantasyland earlier in the day, it was all down. I wanted to ride the carousel, but Trevor did not, so we did not do that. And instead we did Space Rangers, which was really fun. And those are all the things we did.
So yeah, how much is that total?
20 things, 19 rides.
It's the most we've ever done on a single trip.
And we stayed till park close. And then I'm so grateful for YouTube because I didn't know this, but you can stay in the park an hour after it closes. And so it was pouring rain, but we got a brownie peppermint sundae that was so good. And we looked at the castle and it was all lit up, and sat and ate the brownie. It was amazing. I'm never gonna end a Disney trip another way again. like I will always be finishing with a brownie sundae on Main Street. Like that's
It was a good way to end, for sure.
even though it's pouring rain and cold, I don't care. That's what I'm doing from now
Yeah.
on. So what was your favorite highlight?
My favorite highlight was probably Tron. Yeah, probably Tron.
Top ride for me would be Tron. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
really cool.
so much fun. And then what was your favorite thing you ate?
Our lunch was the best.
Lunch was the best.
At Skipper Canteen was the best.
It was the best food I've eaten at Disney.
Yeah,
like
it was
actual
really good.
food instead of dessert. And then
It was really good.
favorite other moment would be Happily Ever After. We haven't even told you guys something really crazy that happened when we were there. So we were there during and this is how we'll round off our video. We were there when they were filming the holiday special. So obviously it was brand new holiday stuff everywhere around the park. And because of that, they set off fireworks like multiple times during the day. And it was very cool. So there were like a lot of random like seeing that. There weren't a lot of characters out. I do think Disney World definitely needs to step up their character interactions because like one of the fun things about Disneyland is that you're walking around and there will just be like characters that like pop up, so it definitely like feels very magical. And as someone who does not really like character interactions, I don't like character meet and greets, I don't see it as an appeal to wait in a line to see a character. So I like at Disneyland just kind of seeing them out and about but not having to go and like wait in line for them. So if you are a character like fan and like those interactions, Disneyland is like so much better at that. So, but we saw characters that were there filming for the holiday special. It was Veterans Day. There was like a veterans thing that happened. There were fireworks throughout the day for the holiday special. And it is kind of fun knowing that when we watch the holiday special on Disney Plus, that we were there that day. So when you guys watch the holiday special, know that we were there on that day.
Yep.
And it was fun.
Which is why we couldn't really go like walk right up to the castle.
Yeah, we couldn't walk through the castle, which it was kind of a bummer, but one of the very best moments is we walked down to get the lockers, and we were filling up our locker to put our stuff in, and we're walking back up Main Street. We saw the tree, everything was decorated beautiful, and we've been looking at the shops like on either side, and we both look up at the same moment at the castle, and fireworks shoot off at this exact moment, and it was so magical. It was
really
so
cool,
fun.
yeah.
And we both were like, did you see that?
was
Oh my
crazy,
gosh,
yeah.
like it was crazy. We had a few moments like that.
Because like
where it
when
felt
does that
there.
happen unless it's like at the night show?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
it's
To
just
have it
cool.
like go out like that was just really cool. It was really special. So I do think that we got really lucky because we had a lot of parts of the day that felt very magical. I would definitely say that we saw everything pretty much that we wanted to see at Magic Kingdom. And so the next time we go to Disney World, I don't think we're going to go to Magic Kingdom because we did everything that there is to do for the most part. Yeah, what do you guys want to hear about from our trip, if there is anything? And then, is there anything that you feel like we missed out on that you're like, Hannah, you just said you did everything at Magic Kingdom, but really you forgot to do
there was stuff we
the
missed.
Enchanted Tales with Belle. And I'd be like, okay.
And the Hall of Presidents, come on.
We made a lot of jokes about the Hall of Presidents, but it was so much fun, and I just want to go back. And oh, we did go to Disney Springs, and that was fun as well. We could do a whole other video about that if you're interested in what we did at Disney Springs. We'd love to talk more if people are interested about our experience at our hotel. I have some very strong opinions on that, and some of those not as fun details. If people are interested, we have a lot to say about what our experience just in Orlando in general was like. So, well, we hope that you enjoyed this video. Let us know, did we miss anything that's your favorite? What else would you like to hear about our trip, if anything? And we will see you in the next one. Bye.